His chances. Oh, brilliant goal! A brilliant goal! Remember the name, Wayne Rooney.
Pirlo, ancora Pirlo di tecco, tiro,
Andrea Pirlo will take, and it's volleyed, and it's in. A goal in 50 seconds from Milan. Oh, would you believe it? Paolo Maldini, the skipper, has scored it. Balotelli, Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again.
And we're back. Episode 5, Footy Fan Podcast. Andrew, Santo, and Joe here. Tons to talk about, boys.
Very, very much so.
Let's just fire it off right away. Ronaldo is back.
CR7 day was Saturday.
Wow. What a way to make a comeback for your team, man.
I know. And it does feel a little bit like he never left. Just coming back, scoring 2 goals, and, just taking it to the team where, in the past, maybe Newcastle would have scored, and then they just hold out for a tie. But Ronaldo's just there, just gets a goal, then gets another goal, and he just leads them to the win.
I think what's very dangerous about Ronaldo is he's still got the fitness and obviously the skill, but the fact that he's kind of, early in his career, obviously on the left side as a winger. Now he's like a box striker.
Yeah.
But he's still so lethal because his athleticism matched with his experience kind of makes up for maybe that like speed and things that he lost.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
So it's very, I think he's still going to go and get, who knows how many goals this season just for that fact.
I was kind of surprised to see him listed as a striker
Yeah,
for the game. But I mean, like you said, it kind of makes sense because it will save his legs a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Not having to track back or anything. Because on Juve, he was playing on the wing still.
Yeah.
And they had either Dybala up front or Morata or something. So he was still... he wasn't required to always track back because they did have players like in the wing back position that would kind of cover for him. Mm-hmm. But he was still, up and down the pitch, cutting into the middle of the field, like making runs to on goal. So I think that kind of burned him out a little bit last season, and maybe that's why, as a whole, Juve didn't play so good. But with him being a number 9,
Mm-hmm.
you're just... I know from experience, you do nothing until the ball gets to you.
Yeah.
Like you can just hang out a little bit. You can recover if you just made a nice sprint or like a long run. You can just save your energy for like a longer game. And he played the whole match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think he was going to play 90 minutes yesterday.
No, I wouldn't have expected that he was going to either. I guess I'm not surprised that he started. I would have thought, I guess maybe for another player, it would have been a situation where he comes off the bench. I think the fact that it's just Ronaldo kind of had to start. But yeah, he just stuck it out for 90 minutes and obviously played really well. But yeah, I think playing him in that number 9 is really, really good for Man U. I mean, he's obviously one of those people that can score at any time. And just like you said, having that saved energy where he's going to do what he does best and doesn't have to use that energy for defensive purposes, I think it's going to really benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and not having Rashford on the bench kind of maybe played a part too, because there's no actual like striker for like substitution. But Greenwood could have slid into that position too.
Yeah,
bring on Lingard, Martial towards like the end of the game, like they did. But I mean, Solskjaer wanted to make a statement by putting him in the starting lineup, and like I said, I was kind of surprised he did play the full 90. But it just goes to show, like Joe said too, his fitness is still there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And man, he can hang. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's like going forward almost all season, depending on how Rashford's fitness is. This is the lineup they might put out.
Yeah.
Greenwood's obviously shown up. He's been able to play, prove his point to Solskjaer that he's actually a reliable winger or a striker.
Mm-hmm.
Sancho getting another start. And then, like you said, off the bench, got Martial, Lingard coming on. Van de Beek finally made another appearance. He's been kind of in and out of the squad, a lot of rotation with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're looking pretty solid.
I was even telling Santo, they're even the last 2 years, it got very deep, even compared to City. I was looking at their lineups, I'm like, there's not too... Obviously, City still has the edge with the kind of players they got,
Right.
but Man U has a lot of options in different positions. I think that's going to help them.
Yeah, kind of long run of the season. where, especially when you have different competitions coming up, they could be dangerous, but I do think it's going to be tough for them to still compete with the likes of Man City. I am really looking forward to the Manchester derby now, especially with the comeback of Ronaldo. I do think it's really going to be tough for them still against a team like City, and it's going to be interesting to see how Ronaldo manages in that game, because it's going to be very different, obviously, than Newcastle, where he's seeing the ball a lot more. I mean, Man City's, I would assume it's going to be another situation where they just take it to Man U, and it's going to be another 70-30% possession game, but we'll see. November 6th.
Manchester derby.
Next Manchester derby with Ronaldo in it. It's been a while.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, squad rotation too, and like depth coming into play. And this week coming up, there are Champions League matches and Europa League matches. The first round of the group stage. So yeah, we'll see how teams can, mix up the squad rotation and try and save some legs. Like I'd be very surprised if Ronaldo would play against Young Boys on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Coming off the game yesterday. I could see that game being, another Greenwood start. Probably Van de Beek maybe in the starting lineup there too, get him some more minutes.
Yeah.
Rashford, if he's coming back healthy or not, give him some more minutes just to get acclimated with the team a little bit more for this season. Ronaldo, though, not the only Portuguese player on United.
No.
Bruno Fernandes, another stunner goal.
Very, very nice goal.
I think last season he might have been my player to watch or my player of the season. His immediate impact for the team was like nobody I've seen recently.
Yeah.
Like for him to get into the squad and just be able to contribute offensively, taking up space in the midfield, being a distributor, scoring goals. Like he was the full package for them last season. And I think he was going to be like my one to watch coming into this season if Lukaku didn't come with Chelsea.
Yeah.
If he didn't sign, he would have been my probably player to watch. To see how he can contribute with having a full season under his belt with United.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this guy, he can do it all for them.
Yeah. No, he's been really impressive for me in the time that he's been there. It's going to be really interesting to see how he partners up with Ronaldo. Just having that extra dynamic up front. But yeah, just showing with the goal that he scored. You give him any sort of time and space in a dangerous area, and he's going to make the most of it. Because that was pretty clean.
I think
on his part.
What I was surprised when he first came, I wouldn't say they were in shambles, but there was no real identity to the team. And when he showed up, he just kind of basically put the team on his shoulders and started getting them results. And that maybe boosted the confidence of the squad, boosted the confidence of the fans, maybe even Solskjaer himself. And from there they kind of built. So it'd be, they probably would not be anywhere close where they are if obviously it wasn't for him. I know it's kind of an obvious statement, but I know we keep going back to Arsenal. We'll talk about them later. I think that's someone they need, just to go in and say, okay, I guess I'm the leader of this team.
Yeah, someone to just step up for them, right?
Myself to just, get them the results they need, as opposed to just being another shirt in the dressing room.
Yeah, with Fernandes there, he's been able to find a good bond almost with Pogba too, because Pogba was almost a lost cause the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
When Mourinho was on his way out, him and Pogba obviously they've been butting heads on and off the pitch, it seems like, and Pogba just seemed lost.
Yeah.
Coming off winning the World Cup with France, he came back to United and it just seemed like a lost puppy, and there was those talks of him leaving, maybe going back to Juve, going to PSG, all these transfer news going on with Pogba, and then Solskjaer gets in there, brings in Fernandes, brings in some more solid players, and he's been able to just kind of slot back into that position he was playing before. He has a little bit more leeway, a little bit more room to run up the field if he wants to, because Fernandes can play a little bit back a little bit just to cover for him defensively.
Yeah.
But we know Pogba as the player who can just take up space in the middle of the field, distribute, use his strength, use his size, and he's been able to just do that this season.
Yeah.
And I think that probably gives big credit to Solskjaer and the playing style and the formations that they've been playing this year. But I mean, it's good for his confidence too, because he's a world class player.
Yeah, yeah, he's obviously got all the talent in the world that you need for someone in that position. And it's one of those situations where you brought in a really good player and it elevated someone else that kind of lost it a little bit. So you got another good player back from bringing in someone like Bruno, And now we're going to see how Ronaldo influences everyone else around him, because it's even some things I saw just from other players on the pitch playing with him. He just instantly elevated everyone else's game, which is really cool to see. So we'll see how that carries on for the rest of the season.
I mean, a lot of the players on United are so young too that like when they were first starting out, they're playing for their youth academy teams, or they're playing just FIFA 2004 with their buddies.
Yeah.
At 10 years old, like kind of like what we were.
Yeah.
They're playing with Ronaldo.
Yeah. They're looking up to Ronaldo, and like
I remember there's a couple of pictures. I think it was like Jesse Lingard or something. It was like a little kid, and he uploaded a picture of him and Ronaldo in like 2004, and he was like 7 or something.
Yeah.
And now he's like playing alongside him. So that's huge. Like that's amazing that they can do that.
Yeah. It's like all your dreams come true. It's like the thing you dream about as a kid, right? And I even saw the same post with Bruno Fernandes when he was on Lisbon. It was graphics. I think someone must have drew it for him, obviously. But him as a kid with a Ronaldo jersey on, he's just watching Ronaldo on TV in the classic Ronaldo stance, lining up for a free kick.
That's awesome.
Can't even imagine what that feeling would be like.
And like full credit to United's coaching staff and their management, because they didn't just bring him in on like a farewell tour. Like he's there to play.
Yeah.
And he's there to perform. It's not like he's all washed up and they're just bringing him back for like one last, trip around Old Trafford and say, okay, thanks for your time here. We appreciate it. Now you can go retire.
Yeah.
He's there to play and to stay, and he's going to, expect results and give results, as we just saw last game, 2 goals.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's going to have a big impact, I think, with them in Champions League as well. I think his experience is really going to help. And like I said before, holding everyone else accountable. Like, no, guys, we can't, if we lose one game, we can't lose another one, I think that's going to be huge for them.
So let's go to another player who scored 2 goals. Chelsea, Aston Villa, Lukaku.
Yeah.
First and last goal of that game. I mean, Tuchel put out an interesting lineup this game, with Chalobah making another appearance and Callum Hudson-Odoi making an appearance on the wing as his first one in the Premier League. Players like Mason Mount weren't playing, N'Golo Kante weren't playing, Jorginho didn't start. Who else didn't start?
Azpilicueta
didn't start. Yeah, Marcos Alonso got the captain's ban for this game, which was like one of his first times ever doing that, I think.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, like, class and team chemistry, it plays a huge part. And Chelsea didn't play that good this game. I know you guys said you just watched the highlights of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sat down and watched the whole game, and I mean, the result is 3-0, but I don't think the result dictates how the game actually went. Villa put a lot of pressure on them, and most of the scoring chances actually did come from Villa. I'm not sure exactly what the stats were, but Chelsea did convert on 3 goals. Mendy came up huge for Chelsea.
Yeah, he came up huge a few times.
A lot of big saves.
Yeah.
But also the new signing Saul from Atletico made his debut, and he got substituted at halftime. I don't know if it was too soon to rush him into the starting 11.
Yeah.
Tuchel obviously wants to get him acclimated to the team, and he wants to get him involved, but he just looked lost out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I watched the whole match, and like the first, his first couple of touches, he seemed a little hesitant. He seemed a little weary on the ball. He gave away possession a couple of times. I think he committed one foul where, like, if it was later in the match, I think it definitely would have been yellow card.
Okay.
But it happened so early that it was kind of like, here's your warning,
Take
but
it easy.
next time you're probably gonna get booked.
Yeah.
I think he just might take a while to get used to the speed of the English game.
Yeah, it's always tough. You hear about it all the time where it's really tough from players to go to the EPL and handle kind of just the speed and the physicality of it. Obviously you get a few players where it's like a dream debut and they score. Ronaldo is kind of an exception to that, where obviously he's played in it for a massive amount of his career. But yeah, it's too bad. Hopefully he gets kind of eased in and starts performing for Chelsea as they're hoping to. But you got to give all the attention to Lukaku, because those goals were just something else.
Yeah,
I'm honestly not surprised that Lukaku's hitting the ground running at Chelsea.
No,
me neither.
I can't. He's
Not
like,
at all.
I was like 95% confident he's gonna crush it. He's gonna score,
yeah,
5 goals in his first 5 games, probably, or whatever it is. So I'm oddly not surprised he's crushing it. I think it's just because he was at Man U already. He was crushing it there. You know, obviously crushes it for Belgium. I think he's just got the build and the speed for the English game as well.
Yeah.
So he probably wasn't, phased at all. Like, oh, I'm going to England again. It's probably was no big deal for him whatsoever. Obviously, and that helps, gets you out of your own head. So you can just, relax, do your thing.
Yeah, and like his first goal, to have the athleticism, the run he made, all that speed, and to have that composure, cuts it back, puts it through the goalie's legs. That was something else. And then just the second goal he scored shows just the other part of his game where, he gets half a chance, he's going to put it top corner.
Yeah, I think he will probably get the golden boot, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think he will.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning that way too, just with how he's leading in. He's just has all this momentum going for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to win it too.
I feel like, Joe, did you call that in like episode 1?
I did.
Nice.
I said if Kane doesn't go to City, then Lukaku will probably win.
Good call.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. We still got a long way to go. What he's got 3 right now.
Long season right now.
Yeah.
3 goals.
I think it's going to be close, but we'll see.
Another little shout out from that game is the play from Kovacic.
Yes.
Setting up the first goal, that beautiful pass that he made.
Very nice pass.
Almost the whole half length of the field. Threw ball between 2 players, just led Lukaku onto the ball there and let him get a nice finish. And then also being persistent and getting the second goal there. No terrible back pass from Tyrone Mings. Well, no, we talked about it. It wasn't terrible back pass. We think maybe the pitch had something to do with it. Slow the ball down maybe, but still for Kovacic to be persistent and to not give up on the play, he gets rewarded for it with his first goal.
Yeah.
In almost 2 seasons, I think, for Chelsea.
Yeah. That was a really good play by him. You could tell just he wanted it and he was pumped, and that's always good to see. I like seeing especially midfield players playing through the middle where maybe sometimes they play a little lax there, but he just wanted it and got the goal.
He's kind of like a rover player too. Like he kind of doesn't have like a set position.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like in N'Golo Kante's role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Jorginho's playing, he kind of sits back more and like just distributes, and then Kante just kind of runs everywhere and takes up space.
Mm-hmm. And
with Kante being on the bench, actually no, Kante wasn't even on the bench. He was actually on reserve for this match. I think maybe just trying to save him for some Champions League games coming up. Kovacic slot into the starting 11, and I think when that Sal transfer was made in the last transfer day back in August, my pick for the player to be bumped out of the 11 would be Kovacic. I thought they would have Jorginho, Sal, and Kante together.
Yeah.
And take him like that 3 in the midfield there.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Kovacic keeps putting performance up like this, I don't know who the hell is
I always
gonna
thought
get
ever
out of
since he
there.
got there, I'm like, he's just solid all the time.
Yeah, he doesn't really make mistakes. He doesn't do
Right.
He's like a player who doesn't really do much during the game. Like that stands out.
Mm-hmm.
He like kind of like Conte. Like Conte is obviously he gets well respected nowadays. Like
Because
before-
he's so good.
Because he's so good. Yeah. Before he's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this guy's really good. But like he didn't really get talked about too much.
Yeah.
Now like he really gets appreciated for what he does. But Kovacic is kind of the same player. Like, you can go 90 minutes with like watching the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll just see like a number 8 buzzing around the field, but like you won't really see him doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he can make a big impact when he can step up,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just a solid player.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't make mistakes. Like I said, this is his first goal in almost 2 seasons, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really get assists that often, but obviously we see his class with that pass that he made for Lukaku. But I mean, these are kind of the players that Chelsea have been, collecting over the last couple of seasons, like just solid guys who just know how to play well, don't make mistakes, and now they're finally getting some positive results out of it.
Yeah. I think, go back to Lukaku, I think they had that foundation already starting to build, and I think Lukaku's that one thing that's going to help them compete for the title. I think they wanted it to be Werner, but that's not really working out.
No.
So yeah, I think that strong number 9 was the missing piece, and they finally found it. So we'll see. It'll be tight for the title this year, I think. But
I want to go back to Conte and say that there was always some appreciation for defensive midfielders. I think Conte just brought it to another level. Just because of how good he is there, and everyone, just loves the CDM role now, and just so much appreciation to him.
Like he's fun to watch too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, his personality is hilarious because like he's so quiet.
He is the
Doesn't
calmest
say
guy.
anything, but he's got the biggest smile on his face. Like when he does something good or he celebrates, he smiles from ear to ear, and it's just hilarious because
Yeah.
like I feel like he doesn't know to speak any English.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like one of the players. You know, like sometimes you see like players after the game, they give interviews.
Yeah.
And they have the translator there for them.
Yeah.
But they know how to speak English, but they just don't want to.
Yeah.
I feel like that's him because I've never seen him speak English before. I feel like he's like really shy and like really coy all the time.
Yeah.
But then he's like the most aggressive, like
Yeah.
kick your ass player on the pitch. And he's like 5'5".
Yeah.
Like he's just
there. He's there
He's
doing
awesome.
his job. And it's funny because you think of guys who are good at sticking tackles, taking up space, winning the ball over. You think of obviously maybe a bigger player, but someone who isn't as maybe just quiet and humble as he is. He's just there. He's just like there to win the ball.
Yeah.
And that's just like kind of what he does, right?
it's like he has no personality almost.
Yeah, just playing. He's like, all right, just
He's
gonna
got the
win ball.
Conte personality.
Yeah.
He just like I say, he's just driven. He has a job. He's clocking in at 3 p.m.
Day at
Clocks
work.
out.
Clock in 3 p.m. Play 90 minutes. Get out of there and get the win.
Day at the office, just taking like 30 tackles a game.
Team picking up their first loss of the season. Spurs
Yeah.
going down 3-0 to Crystal Palace.
A lot to talk about in this one.
Yeah, you guys. So coming in, Spurs is looking pretty good. I mean, they've only won their games 1-0.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 games 1-0, and then they drew one, right? I think 0-0.
Yeah.
And then so this was their actual first official like drop points. No Son on this game. He was injured in World Cup qualifier earlier in the week against Iraq, so he was out for this one, and I think that really hurt them being creative.
Yeah.
Because like we said before, like they're a 1-2 punch team with Kane and Son, and we've seen before how I think when Son is not there, I feel like Kane has a harder time performing well.
Yeah.
But when Son is there and Kane might be injured or might be absent from the team, I think Son can excel.
Yeah.
Not better than what he would if Kane was there, but I think he just is a player who gets on the ball more than Kane would.
Yeah.
Obviously because of his position. But I think he just can contribute more without Kane being in the lineup than if he was there. Harry Kane, I saw another stat, is his first time, I think, in any Premier League game where he had no touches inside the opposition's box.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they show like a little touch chart of like where he was on the field, and it was right. I mean, it was like I think the closest he got might have been 10 yards outside the 18.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to score when you can't even get in the other team's box.
No, and I think that
Chances.
might be part delivery, like not being able to get the ball. They had a few players also that were not playing, like Lo Celso was not playing because of that whole Argentina and Brazil fiasco that happened in the midweek as well.
Yeah.
So he was not playing in this game. But there's still no excuse. I mean, they got the red card in the second half. First half was not really much to talk about. Red card from Tanganga second half.
Yeah, that was.
Second yellow kind of shook the game up on his head a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the first thing, the whole situation with Tanganga and
Zaha.
Like, obviously it's just a yellow. I just didn't really like the whole attitude about the situation. Like, obviously Tanganga just like two hands Zaha after he runs by him, and it's like, okay, it is a yellow, but it's like a really like unsportsmanlike
It's
type
stupid.
play.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
stupid.
and it's like guys running by you and you just two hand the guy, and I don't like. Yeah, Zaha really got in his face after, and they were just going at it, caused a big like scene, right? It's just,
I mean,
I really didn't like it.
If that was to get under Zaha's skin, you don't do that at Crystal Palace.
No.
Okay, you want to do that, get under skin, okay, do it at home. But there, you're just getting the crowd fired up, and like Zaha's gonna get fired up because like you go to Crystal Palace, like they've been solid mid-table for a while, and they're tough to play at home. So you do that there, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So and then obviously it showed. Second half they come out, kind of take it to Tottenham. Zaha's playing a big part of that. So obviously it didn't work. I don't know, maybe reading too much into it, or he was just got hot-headed, spur of the moment type thing. But maybe just a lack of experience on his part.
Yeah, I feel like that foul is almost like an equivalent of pulling a player down like midfield, like if they beat you on the ball.
Yeah.
Like during a counterattacking situation, you pull the player's jersey back, get a foul. He was easily beat
Yeah.
I know, by Zaha pushing the ball around the side there. It was in the 50th minute of the game, I think, the first yellow that occurred. So, you know, a tight game like this being 0-0, and like there was chances at both ends. So it was a high intensity game from the start.
Yeah.
Not many chances were created from both ends in the first half there, but yeah, like Joe said, maybe it's just lack of experience from Tanganga. This is like his first, I think, official season being in the starting role, defensive role there for Tottenham. And I mean, the second card there he got too, no excuses. He gave the ball up in the middle of the pitch. He did lunge in. We've had a discussion with this before.
Yeah. He does pull out. That's what I don't think was a yellow, but I think goes back to lack of experience. You can't. You got to know you're on a yellow, and there's no point in jumping in.
I think it was 5 or 6
midfield.
minutes after his first card, so that was still fresh in the memory of the referee too.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did seem to pull his legs back a little bit. It did look worse in real time as well, because he did lunge in pretty quick, and he did catch him late.
Yeah, he did catch him a little bit. That's the thing. I don't know why you would ever put yourself in a situation, especially in that position in the field, like
Midfield.
There's never a reason to lunge in like that.
No.
In that position, right?
Yeah.
Like you can defend the guy there, especially when you're on a yellow, because you put yourself in that situation where you could really hurt your team. You know, better off getting beat, staying on the field than obviously getting.
They were not scoring.
No.
But obviously, you just get lost in the game. It's tough sometimes, but
yeah, it's too bad. I mean, obviously that changed the dynamic of the game, and then Palace really took it at Tottenham and started with Ben Davies.
Yeah, handball.
Going in with that handball.
I'm gonna say, I know we're debating this, but I don't understand how that. Okay, that's obviously a PK, and then I'm always gonna go back to the City Liverpool game, like 2 years ago, last year,
2
years ago.
2 years ago, at least. Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold was way farther away, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking at the Ben Davies. Oh, definitely a handball. 100%. And then you still got some people looking at the Alexander-Arnold like, well, like, it's
I know.
No, it definitely was. Anyway.
And the fact that I know Alexander-Arnold's running towards his own net.
Yeah.
Right? Bernardo Silva cuts inside, crosses the ball, takes a deflection. Alexander-Arnold turns, shifts his body, and opens up his body.
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing I can say is, like, when you open up your body, you naturally do that. But, like, he's turning and his arm is just out, fully stretched. At least Ben Davies was just like his elbow was like into his body, right? And it was out. Alexander-Arnold's arm full stretched, no hand.
Everyone's just
goes down,
analyzing it
and scores. And that was huge because Liverpool got the lead 1-0, and they go on to win the EPL that year. Like, I'm not one for saying like, oh, that game decided it.
Well, the huge turning point in the standings, though.
Massive turning point because they go, they take 3 points from City, where it could have easily gone the other way, and then who knows what could have happened the rest of the season.
Which is weird because that was the year with the new handball rule, so the goal should have been called off anyway because they took the ball and went and scored, and like the play, like I don't even know what technically counts as like the second phase or whatever it is, but I'm pretty sure it was still the first phase when they went and scored. So that should have been called off. So it's very big loopholes in that whole scenario. Anyway, that was 2 years ago.
I know, and that's 2 years ago, and they still haven't gotten it right since.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at this play here with Ben Davies, he approached... I forget who it was that sent the cross. It might have been IU or something. He approached to defend with his arm already open.
I know.
Like,
very strange.
It's an unnatural position.
Yeah.
Like, I get it if and in that situation, too, like, you're approaching a guy in the wing just outside the box is like when the ball was crossed in. And Davies was obviously about 10 yards inside the box. But when you're approaching a wing player like that, you should have the presence of mind to have your arms at your side already.
Yeah.
Or I've even seen when the players like approach and they have their arms behind their back,
right,
so that there's no possible way of a handball. Davies was like,
I know,
giving him the left turn sign.
Yeah, actually,
like he was like riding a bike down the street.
Actually,
and he approached with his arm wide open. It was again like unnatural position for that to happen. Ball goes to hand. It's one of those calls too that the line's been slotted right away too. He waved his flag like he was, bringing in a 747, and referee saw it right away. Deemed it a yellow card, or deemed it a penalty. Sorry, and the guys from Tottenham didn't even put up a stink about it either. I don't think. I mean, they all seemed pretty
it's
satisfied that. So yeah, okay, that's probably a PK.
yeah, like it's one of those things. I don't know why he was approaching him like that. I've never seen that with your arm there, like just. Like
I've seen it several times. I think defenders just lose their mind in the game.
Maybe.
That's what happens. You're not expecting it. You're trying to like keep your balance, I guess.
The commentators are also making a point that Eric Dyer went down in the 12th minute, so that's one center back out of the game, and then they brought in his replacement. I can't remember his name, to be honest, but brought his replacement, and then Tanganga goes off with a red card, and they bring Ben Davies in, so they're playing with two center backs that don't normally start for them.
Right.
That's still not an excuse for why your arm's wide open when you're approaching an attacking player, but they made that known. And since the red card, obviously everything kind of went into Palace's way, starting with the PK. Zaha steps up, scores it. I think they deserved the goal. They were playing pretty well the entire match, even before the red card occurred.
Yeah.
They put a lot of pressure on Spurs. They didn't really seem to have anything going forward. Like Harry Kane, again, had no touches inside the box. Yeah. If I didn't know that he was playing the game, I wouldn't have known that he was playing the game.
Yeah.
If I just turned it on as like a regular fan and I wasn't actually paying attention, I would not have seen him.
Yeah.
He was non-existent, non-factor. And that might be, again, like a knock on his position because he's just playing a number 9.
Yeah.
So it's like you can only be as good as the players behind you sometimes.
Right.
Because you can't do everything.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You need the service, right?
Yeah. And we know with the service he can put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. Obviously it gets tougher when you're down a man playing number 9. You're just kind of up there by yourself running around and you got to hope for like a half chance and make something of it. So it is definitely tough, but yeah, Palace brought it to him, and then Edward.
Yeah,
it's 2 goals on his debut for Palace.
I didn't know who this guy was. I had to look him up afterwards. His name's Odsonne Edouard, a French player. He came from Celtic last season. He was the Scottish Premier League leading goal scorer. He must have been a Vieira transfer, scout or something. Like Vieira must have seen him or known of him, being from France himself. He comes on in the 82nd minute, pots one in the back of the bag, 27 seconds in, and then scores again in the 93rd minute.
Yeah.
Like what a way to make your debut at home at Selhurst Park. That's pretty awesome for him.
Like I said, both goals, they get a little bit lucky, but you got to be in the right spot at the right time to you make your own luck sometimes. It's huge though when you're in a new league on a new team. If you can get that weight off your shoulders, it's like huge.
Oh yeah.
It like so much of your stress just like leaves if you can do that early. Otherwise, especially with, we've seen it with Timo Werner, just like lingers, and then people start asking questions. At least if you get it off your shoulders early, it like gives you time to like settle in more, and people won't be on your back like, oh, when's he gonna score? So that's huge for him.
Yeah, it looks like a miracle signing from Vieira there.
Yeah, who knows who's going to be that next massive signing? Who's going to be that next Mahrez that just comes out of nowhere?
Right,
Conte, like, oh, all right, you just went from $5 million value to $87 million, and you're actually a really good player.
I love seeing that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. And credit to Leicester on the year they won the EPL for their scouting team that just brought in Mahrez and Conte.
Vardy.
Yeah,
he was there for a while, but Vardy bringing him there, Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, and just these players no one ever heard of, and they just turned into like massive talking points in the league. Right?
Yep.
Well, speaking of Leicester, those players aren't there anymore.
No,
and it shows sometimes, except for Vardy. And Schmeichel.
Good for Vardy not going to I thought for sure he was going to go to Arsenal.
Oh yeah.
Well,
there's talks.
All talks. Good for him for sticking it out. He's probably like, thank God it didn't go. Like that would have sucked.
Dodge that bullet for the next 5 years of my life.
Oh man.
That game, Man City, Leicester. It goes 1-0 to Man City. Bernardo Silva scoring off a rebound.
A little scrappy, but
this is another game where the score doesn't really dictate how it went, because this game could have been 4-0.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 4-2 at some point. In favor of Man City. They played really well the first half. Didn't convert all their chances. That opening header from Gabriel Jesus in the first 5 minutes, you see that one? Yeah. Silva with the great cross down the wing. And like if you're looking at the highlights or you're looking at the video, Jesus isn't even in the picture. He goes flying in from the far post.
Yeah.
direct header right at Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah.
I mean, that header it came off harder than a shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, City definitely could have won this game by more. It was like Santos said before we were talking about it. It was almost like just bombardment
Yeah.
from a City approach.
Just shot after shot, and then Leicester just throwing bodies at City, trying everything they can to make sure they don't score. But you got to give credit to City. I haven't seen a whole lot of games where City just find that scrappy goal. I do see, especially last season, there were a lot of times, even the season before, when City wouldn't score, and it's almost like they panic because they didn't score yet. 35 minutes go by and they're like, oh, why haven't we scored yet? Had so many chances. And it's just like they really don't find that scrappy goal they need. So it was pretty good to see where they just kind of found it somewhere. Just someone poaching the box and just putting it away. So I think it's going to be important for them to kind of build on that.
Well, I think they have enough players where someone is just going to step up and try and find it themselves, which is nice. Always nice to have. Just a note on Bernardo Silva, I thought for sure he was going to Milan. Remember we were talking about that?
Yeah.
But good thing he's still here.
Yeah.
He snubbed the move. But,
Yeah, I like him. I don't want him to leave City.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of that, you don't hear a lot about him in terms of, any major stories or anything, but he's just a really solid player for them, plays in all the big games, which is why I was questioning why I was leaving or why he maybe wanted to leave, but glad he's staying in the EPL.
Well, just going back to Guardiola, I think he, like I said before, he can get the best out of almost any player. And I remember when he first got there, he was like kind of struggling to get on the wing, not seeing too much game time, and then he started playing in the middle and just completely changed his game. And ever since then, he's been such a key part of their team. So it's really nice to see. And it obviously goes back to Guardiola, like I said.
If he was to leave the team, though, do you think they would miss him that much? Based on like who they have on the bench?
I think it's tough, right? Because I think City, I don't think they would like miss him in any particular game. I think they would miss him over the course of the season. Because I think City really strive in the fact that they have a deep enough bench that they can win all the competitions they play in, and that's why they have the team they have. So, I mean, it's one of those things, right? You won't miss one player, but like, well, you miss like two players. Like if he leaves, then someone else leaves, and they don't find replacements. So it's like, okay. So I think it's one of those things where no one player is important, but all the players are important to the entire team. So you really don't want to see anyone go, I think, if they really don't need to and you want them to stay.
I mean, I would say in maybe 3 to 5 years, they might need a little bit of a rebuilding up front.
Yeah.
I don't know how long Sterling and Mars are going to be in their prime. So they might need maybe 1 or 2 attacking players. That's obviously further down the road. So they don't want to start losing some of those key players right now, I would say, until they have, the next generation of City players coming. Because if you think about it, a lot of those guys have been there for a while now.
Yeah, they have.
A lot of their, Aguero left, but, Jesus, Sterling, Mahrez, they're like all turning veterans, obviously De Bruyne as well. And Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, they're just like, they've been there for, feels like forever now. So they will need the new generation sometime soon.
Yeah, and
so
we
we'll
don't
see.
and we don't hear a lot about like the City Youth Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And like I know obviously we're not like super invested into the knowing the ins and outs of Man City's Youth Academy and like who they actually do have coming up, but I mean Phil Foden was like a Youth Academy player.
Yeah.
That's like the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But like everybody else in the starting 11, they've been brought in from transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean it kind of goes to show like you might have the money to buy anybody you want, but then team chemistry comes into play. There's talks of we talked about last episode that Pep might not be there for the the distant future.
Yeah.
The next couple of seasons, his contract might be coming up, and he's
who knows
wavering
what's
back
gonna
and forth about other transfer or other head coaching jobs. Just going back to the starting lineup and everything, I think I just personally am a stickler for you put your best lineup out every single time if you can.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's obviously other competitions coming up. Like we stated, there's Champions League coming up midweek, as well as just the actual weekend play for the season. And players are coming off international break. So this particular week, it is a tricky one for managers to pick, a strong starting 11. And maybe it's just because I've been playing FIFA for the past 25 years, it seems like, of my life.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you just base your players all in overall and they're all healthy, you play your best players at all times.
Yeah.
And this game is not a slouch of a game. It's Man City versus Leicester. I mean, Leicester's obviously kind of a second tier of the top 6, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, last year they had a pretty good season. Obviously, they won a couple years ago.
Right.
But they're not United. They're not Chelsea. They're not Liverpool. But you still want to put your best players out there.
Right.
And I think playing Sterling over, Bernardo Silva, or Mars over Bernardo Silva, I think that's the better play.
Yeah.
On a more consistent basis. And I just look at it too. It's like you have all this money on the bench, and you're not playing these players.
Well, they have who does City have midweek? I mean, they're playing Leipzig midweek on Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming Sterling and Mahrez will play in that game.
I know, I get it, I know, but
I know their priority is probably Champions League, I would say. And obviously, you'd want those two fresh in that game.
I don't know why, but I'm not a big Ferran Torres fan.
I am.
I know you are.
He's so good.
I know. I don't
torn.
know what it
Very
is. I don't
solid.
know what it is about him.
I think
He's super young, and it goes back to Pep. I think he's super young, and I think he's just getting, the right amount of nurturing from Pep. Because I remember Foden as well. Like it was very slow for Foden getting into the lineup, and there was a few, 1 or 2 years where it was almost, very minimal games, and now it's just the point. Okay, he's like a very key midfielder now. So I think he's doing probably the same with Torres. But what don't you like about him?
I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't do enough for me. Like I feel like his goals that he scores are. It's gonna sound rude or not nice, but I feel like most of the goals that he scores, other players kind of create it for him, and then he just scores. I don't see a lot of
maybe
goal. Maybe I haven't watched.
He
enough
is
about
in the
him.
right, but he is in the right spot at the right time, and he's trying to be a number 9 at one of the best clubs in the world.
Right.
Very very tough.
I'm
we'll
not
see.
sa-
I think if he sticks it out for a few years, he will. He could be just another lethal number 9. I mean, we'll see what happens. He's still very young, only 21.
I'm not trying to downplay his skill, because obviously for him to be where he's at, it's amazing.
We were talking about this at soccer. It's like, man, how shit are we compared
know.
to?
I'm not trying to downplay. Obviously, he's freaking amazing and a lot better than I am, or we are. But I don't know. I mean, just for that role, I think he's in, and I mean, maybe it's just the old school way that I look at things, because I was brought up playing a 4-4-2, and I was I was looking at the new wave of players, and the number 9, so a pure number 9. They just play one striker up top, and that's just kind of what I've grown up to watch and become accustomed to with watching. And obviously Lukaku's playing that role now, and I saw Drogba play that role for my clubs that I want to support.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, just the whole false 9 thing. I like to see just a striker. I want to see just Harry Kane get 30 goals.
Me too.
I want to see
Yeah.
Lukaku get 30 goals. Ibrahimovic,
Yeah.
Benzema, all these players. I just love to see goals.
You like the
Yeah.
tall, you like the
Lewandowski.
tall number 9
I do.
powerhouse striker.
Maybe because I'm not tall.
Yeah.
And I envy that a little bit in the
Yeah.
playing style. But just the physicality that a number 9 can bring, and just I think Lewandowski is my player right now, where
Yeah.
he's just so good.
Yeah.
And I think Haaland coming up might become that player as well. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
Just his comparisons, but
Yeah.
he just gets goals, man.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
love
they
that.
are. I wouldn't say they're missing that, because Jesus could play that role, but it's turning out Jesus is very lethal on the right side.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they bring in another number 9. Maybe like a Haaland or someone.
But
Yeah.
but the playing style that Pep plays, I feel like it would. I think a number 9 that plays with that style would do so well with his team.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
Mm-hmm.
last year Chelsea tried it with Werner, and playing a false 9 kind of, and they obviously won Champions League, which was sick. But with the players that they had, they were trying to play like how they're playing now with Lukaku with players that don't play that role. Like they obviously the guys that they had, like Werner, Havertz, Mason Mount play that role a lot. Even Pulisic sometimes would go to that false 9 role, and I think they wanted it to be more of like a target man number 9. Like when they had Giroud playing, they played really well with Giroud last year.
Yeah.
Like he came on as a sub a lot, like late in games, and he did start a couple here and there, like in Champions League. I think he got a hat trick against, I forget. It might have been like a French side or something. He got a hat trick, just playing really, really well as a target number 9. And then when they play these other guys and then they try and do the same tactics and play the same way, it just doesn't work out. So when I saw Lukaku come in, I'm like, now they can play the way that they want to play. They have fast, they have skill on the wings, they have guys that can score on the wings. So like imagine City can bring that forward. And I know they tried getting Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't put another bid in for somebody else. Because they have all the money in the world. They could, if they wanted Haaland, they could have gave him $200 million if they wanted to.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works with the whole financial situations.
I know, but
but yeah, I mean, back to Ferran Torres, I am a little torn on him. Where I don't
Torres.
No pun intended.
I did intend that one. That was terrible. That was really bad. I'll cut that.
Maybe not. But no, I mean he obviously, he's done a lot for the team, but I don't really see him getting to the level where if you were to bring in Haaland or someone like that into the club and what he would give you. Hopefully I'm wrong where, he just kind of turns into the player that they need, because obviously it'd be cool to see him succeed. But yeah, I do think where if they could bring in someone that like Haaland that's going to have an impact, for a long time, I think that's really what they need. Obviously, Pep was playing a few players from the academy over the season, which was interesting because I didn't see that a lot last year. So he's bringing in some of the youth talent. So we'll see. I mean, it would be cool to see some of the youth come up, but I do really think City do have to get a striker at just some point.
Sticking on City, kind of off topic. I've read something how Ederson wants to play in the midfield. It's like, oh, you can just swap me for De Bruyne and it'd be no different. Thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
he probably. I feel like he would be better than we think. I know people like, oh, he played midfield before. He'd be pretty good. I think he would honestly probably be a lot better than how even we would think he would be.
He just got mad confidence, eh?
Yeah, probably. He pings balls 40 yards. You can probably see a 20-yard pass pretty easily. And not have to worry. It's like, oh, I can't screw this up, otherwise they're going to score.
I mean, it's still a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
We'll see.
I don't.
We're never going to see it, but I think we'd be oddly surprised.
So what did he say? Like,
what was the article? I think he was just making a joke. It's like, oh, I want to play in City's midfield. You could swap me for De Bruyne, and there'd be no difference. I think he was probably just like messing around.
Okay,
but it would be. I've always wondered that. Are we ever going to see? Are we ever going to see him in the midfield just for fun? On maybe like a charity game. I think it'd be kind of fun.
Oh, maybe.
Well, yeah, but it
yeah.
You playing a charity game, like sure.
Manchester Derby, Ederson starting center
mid. Imagine us 2 goals.
Take both goals are from half.
Have to go find another goalie.
He's just delivering balls left and right.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be interesting because obviously he's one of the best goalies I've ever seen with his feet. Mm-hmm. It'd be cool to see how it would translate in the midfield. But probably something we're never going to see in our...
No. Oh, yeah. He can pick a pass, but...
Yeah.
Everything else, maybe not. I don't know.
See him go up for a header. Or something. Going for his live tackle.
Yeah.
One day, hopefully.
No, they never will, because if he gets injured, that would not be good.
Yeah. You want to risk Ederson and injury
for
an open play.
No reason.
For no reason whatsoever.
Last big game of the Big Six here. Liverpool Leeds. Liverpool come away with a 3-0 victory. Another game where I think Liverpool kind of dominated most of the match.
Yeah.
It's kind of a trend that we're seeing now with them. They can just, play their style of play under Klopp, and it doesn't really matter who the opponent is. They're just going to find a way to win.
Yeah, they looked really solid. There were some. I saw some data on Liverpool where they do have that tendency to attack on the right side there. So I know Jurgen Klopp went under some criticism where they were being a little bit predictable in how they approach their play. Obviously, in this game, the game plan they went with worked, and they just had I think a really solid performance where they showed why they were winners of the Premier League not very long ago. Mm-hmm. So yeah, full credit to them for pulling out a good win, but came at a bit of a cost with Elliott picking up, the injury no one wants to see as a footballer, right?
I don't even think they showed the replay.
No, they didn't.
The commentators picked it up pretty quick. Like even the players, like I think it might have been Mo Salah or might have been a Leeds player. I can't remember.
Salah was like first on the scene.
Yeah, they were calling down the referee. I think because the referee missed it.
Yeah,
because like the tackle happened, the challenge happened from the player from Leeds, and the ball was like kicked away pretty quickly, and the play just continued going on. So the referee turned his back on it. But then I think Salah and coaching staff and even other players on the pitch were telling him, "Hey, stop. This is not good."
Yeah.
Harvey Elliott, young kid, youth academy player for Liverpool. He started every game this year, I think, for Liverpool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the middle of the pitch there, over Henderson.
Yeah, it's playing really well.
Is,
they were talking how like he was actually disappointed that he's not getting like a bigger involvement in the England senior squad.
Oh, he'll probably get there.
He'll probably get there, but
19 years old.
He's super young, but he already has that hunger, like he wants to be on that top level already. So very, very unfortunate.
Well, hopefully this does not, set him back too far. It was given a red card on the challenge, and we discussed it earlier. We don't think it was probably a red card challenge.
I don't even think it was a foul, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things, they were running, they were shoulder to shoulder, both running for the ball. Leeds guy, I don't think did anything wrong. He went down, and he scooped the ball and took possession of the ball while going down.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't see why or how you could even give that as a foul when that's exactly how you're supposed to put in a tackle, right?
Yeah.
Literally took possession of the ball as he was going down. Based on what I saw, it was kind of tough to see exactly how it happened. I don't know if it was his trailing leg, whereas he took the ball with his right foot and he kind of started using his left foot to get up, where that made contact with Elliott's leg, or where he just kind of fell on it. But it's just one of those things where it's super unfortunate. It's just kind of how it happened. But it sucks. It's similar to that situation where with Son, when Son was just, I think it was 2 seasons ago, when a player got pushed into Son, and Son was literally just standing there, and the guy unfortunately broke his leg.
Yeah.
They kind of clashed, and Son got a red card. He didn't do anything wrong. We're just watching a quick video over here. Like, look, Larry takes the ball and
some grainy footage here.
So
I think
his legs kind of got scissored almost.
I think it's like the left leg.
That's why I think like his left leg.
It's the left leg. I think that's looking at it. I think that's why it's a red card. To be honest, like there's no like that
trailing leg there.
I think that's why.
Yeah, I mean on the play on the pitch wasn't even called back from the referee. It happened so fast. I don't think he deemed it even as a foul. They said the play continued on, and then the players are the ones that called it back. And then of course VAR gets involved and takes a look at it and deems it red. I mean, I don't even think players or coaches were even calling for it to be a red card.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, right? Like it didn't even look that bad. You can see the reaction player, like Mo Salah's calling everyone on, and
I mean, kudos to the training staff from Liverpool too. They were on the scene, within 5 seconds. I think they were running on the pitch before the referee even blew the whistle.
Yeah,
to call the play dead there.
And you can see all the reaction of everyone. Just
brutal
situation.
Yeah,
broken leg.
I keep calling him the Leeds guy. It's Pascal Struijk. Stroik, I think, with the red card. He's I'm pretty sure he's a player from Netherlands, and they were saying how Van Dijk was consoling him after the play happened because his immediate reaction wasn't, to get pissed off about a red card. He was generally concerned for the well-being of
and that always happens, right?
Of Elliot there, and I mean all the players were concerned because at the end of the day, it's a red card. It was a nasty looking challenge. I mean, take it for what you want, but at the end of the day, these guys are all in the same boat.
Yeah,
they're all just EPL players. They're all just soccer players from young age, from old age. An injury like this can happen at any time, so you kind of have to take it for granted every minute that you get to play.
Yeah,
and they were all kind of consoling themselves because that's a nasty challenge for a young kid like that. Making an impact like he has been at Liverpool. It's been awesome to see him get in the starting 11, and I mean he's a good player too. Like he's contributing on both ends of the both ends of the pitch.
Yeah.
And for him to go down like this, man, it's going to be a tough one to come back from.
I'm actually reading right now. Harvey Elliott has been discharged from hospital after suffering a serious ankle injury in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they only took one replay of it or one live view of it. And, obviously it'd be pretty nasty to zoom in on it or something and, break it down like they kind of were doing for the Christian Eriksen during the Euro. So they kept showing that, which was...
so he dislocated his ankle.
Not very good, but... Dislocated ankle?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it doesn't sound as bad as it was then.
Yeah.
Well, because it was one of those situations where his...
I thought it was his leg, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like it because it's one of those things where his... you saw Mo Salah's reaction and you saw the picture of his leg where, his foot was pointing the other way.
Yeah.
Something was obviously amiss. It looked like a broken leg to me. But if it it's just a really severely dislocated ankle, which honestly I don't medically know the difference.
I think Joe's on WebMD right now.
WebMD. Yeah,
Joe's
I mean
diagnose his
it's
injury.
looking like maybe it'll take 6 to 8 months. I don't know. The headline reading doctor situation, but good to whatever. Probably better than obviously a broken femur like how I had, but.
Well, yeah.
Maybe we're just looking at months as opposed to years.
Right.
Well, it depends, right? Because I know it depends on the break. Because
Santo MD.
Well, no, because I even know with on Valencia on Man U when they were playing Rangers, I think it was years ago when broke his leg.
Yeah.
But they said he was going to be back in, I think it was 4 months or something because it was a clean break and it was going to heal properly.
Yeah.
So I think it honestly depends on what it is, but with Elliot there is just lying on the ground, his legs literally just
dangling.
Fish tail. It's
Brutal.
the worst thing. So honestly, if it's not a clean break, it might not necessarily be the best thing because if it's in that there and it's your ligaments or something making your leg dangle, then that's probably worse.
I mean, there's all the different terms, right? Dislocation, break, fracture, hairline fracture, all.
Yeah.
And take your pick on what it actually is. They might not disclose everything too. They want to maybe keep some stuff behind closed doors.
Yeah.
The fact that he is only 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
That could also play a part in his recovery, maybe.
Yeah.
And if we were to do that, we'd probably be off for a year or
Yeah.
something.
Oh yeah.
He might fire up back in 5 months back in training again. You never know.
Yeah. So hopefully a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
And see him back soon.
Yeah. Wish Harvey Elliott a recovery. Last game, I guess we'll talk about a little bit.
Arsenal. Here we go.
It's almost like the butt end of the joke. We literally save Arsenal for the last.
Yeah.
Last team to talk about every single time. They get their first win.
They got their first win and first goal.
First goal.
First win. Big day for them.
I mean,
out of the bottom 3.
If I scored that goal, I don't know how much I'd be bragging about scoring that one because it was one of the sloppiest goals I've seen in a long time. And even went to VAR too. I think VAR took a look at it because it might have been offside at some point. Or
yeah, there's a chance of offside there, which I would have felt for them. You get your first goal and VAR calls it back. It's like, what else could go wrong, really? And then you draw against the Norwich that you're fighting. In this case, it was bottom of the table match.
Yeah.
And to draw that, I think this is the massive win they needed. Because if they drew that game, then it's like more bad news, really.
This was a lineup that I feel like Arsenal will look more to playing with going forward.
Yeah.
You got Pepe and Saka on the wings, Aubameyang up front, and Odegaard through the middle. I think he's a player when like Odegaard I'm speaking of. I think he's a player where when he gets his opportunities, he does get possession. He can be pretty productive.
Yeah.
I believe Granit Xhaka was off for suspension for this match.
Yeah.
So Sambi Lokonga made a debut for Arsenal alongside Maitland-Niles in the position that Xhaka would normally be playing in, just behind the midfielders there in defensive role. Odegaard is he's the captain, I believe, for Norway. I believe I was watching a game during the break. He's 22 years old, and he's captaining the Norwegian team. So clearly,
he was captain that game because I know what was his name in the Euros. It was
I think if he's Denmark.
Oh yes, I am. My mistake.
Twin intuition. Alexander's thinking of Denmark.
I
right
thought
now.
about it too for a second. I'm like,
Yeah.
See, all I need to do is think thoughts about
where's he going
soccer, and
with
Joe
this?
knows exactly what
Yeah,
they are.
Alexander's mixing up. What's his name from Milan? He's the
Kyer.
Kyer's Milan's
Yes.
captain.
Yeah.
Or no, I
Odegaard-
don't think he's their captain. But he
Getting
plays
my
for Milan.
Norwegian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odegaard. So yeah, he's the captain for Norway, which I was surprised to see that during the match. 22 years old. I think they are just a generally younger team. Norway as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the golden boy there, Haaland up top.
Yeah.
But to see Odegaard be the captain and take control of the game, he was going up against, I believe it was Netherlands, the game I was watching. So Odegaard and Van Dijk are the two captains of the sides, two completely different players, obviously different playing style, obviously more different presence on the pitch. You got Van Dijk, who's
Van Dijk.
a leader of men.
Yep.
One of the alternate captains for Liverpool, a Champions League winning side, a Premier League winning side, and you got Odegaard,
Yeah.
like the new kid on Arsenal. But I think he wears that role well, and I think Arsenal have high hopes in him, maybe becoming one of those players like Joe keeps talking about,
Yep.
who can take control of the middle of the field. They can take control of the whole team. He can rally around the boys. He can rally the troops up, and he's not a bad player to go along with it. I mean, he can distribute the ball pretty well. He's got good physicality to his game. I just think the pieces around him have to really step up, and I think
Yeah.
from Arsenal's standpoint, they have to build from the back because Pepe and Saka are, they're quality players. Saka's obviously really young, and he's only going to get better. Aubameyang's a proven player, even from his days at Dortmund. Like, we know who he is.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to discover about him. And obviously, like I said before, they have huge expectations on Odegaard, but that back four that they have playing in defense, or however they play back three sometimes, I think they're just brutal. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna come and say it bluntly. I don't think they're that good.
Yeah.
And I think from Arsenal's standpoint, they have to build from the back. They got Ramsdale, goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. He just signed there this season from where did he come from? I forget where he came from.
From Bournemouth or Sheffield.
The Sheffield?
Bournemouth. I don't know where
He's on Bournemouth from 2017 to 2020.
Sheffield.
And Sheffield.
Yeah, Sheffield United. So he made his debut. I think he might be the goalie of the future for them.
Yeah.
And I think Bernd Leno is going to, take a back seat going forward, or maybe he's going to move on in January, possibly in the next transfer market. But defensively, I think they just are in shambles sometimes, and their goal differential record kind of proved my point.
Yes.
I think they are
They are
-8.
They're -8, yeah.
Well, you don't like. I haven't looked too much into Arsenal's defense, but you don't want just only youth at the back.
No, and that's their
You know what I
issue,
mean?
right?
You they should have brought. Obviously, I have no idea where players like these are, but if they brought in like a Morgan from Leicester, not him specifically, but someone like that, like towards the end of their career, kind of like what Chelsea did with Thiago, kind of brought in someone like that.
Yeah.
If they can get a player like that to just bring the experience to the young players that they're bringing in, I think that would help.
But the players have to also want to go to Arsenal.
I know, and that's the situation that they're getting in. Why would someone like Morgan want to go to Arsenal? He'd be like, no, fuck that.
End of your career.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to go to
You would not want to do
a
that.
bottom
He's
feeder?
Like, he's like, no, I'm going to stay at... I don't know where he is right now. He's probably still...
I think Westmore. I think he's on Leicester up until last season.
Leicester, but... And
I think
that's...
he might be
It's
retired
kind
now.
of like the poor get poorer. Like, they need a player like that who's like, okay, like, I've had my time at my club. Like, I'm ready to move on. Kind of like Thiago at PSG. I don't know what the situation, if he was forced out or he wanted to leave.
His contract. He left on a free transfer to Chelsea.
Yeah. That's another issue, but they got to find a way to bring in someone like that to stabilize their
stabilize the
back line.
there.
Just be like a leader. It's like, no, kids, listen to me.
Yeah.
But no one wants. It's tough because no one wants to do that.
So that wraps up the week that was in England. There's one game tomorrow, Everton Burnley.
Yep.
Everton. I'm saying. Where's the game at?
I think they're home.
It's at Goodison Park.
Yeah.
I'm going 3-0 Everton
Yeah.
in this one.
They've had a pretty solid start to the season. 2 wins and a draw. And Burnley sitting 18th at the moment. So they, have maybe a little bit of a blow to their confidence. But you're always going to need to kind of grind out one of those wins. We'll see if they can do it against Everton.
I think,
Might be tough,
like I
though.
said, I think West Ham is going to have a good year. I think Everton as well. We'll see.
Yeah, they made a lot of progress
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I mean, I think they're always going to be, a top 10, top 8.
Good for them for bringing in Ancelotti. That's exactly.
Yeah, that was smart.
exactly what they needed.
That was smart. Like we said before, midweek we have Champions League matches. First leg of Group 1. So that made no sense. First game of group stage.
First round of games.
First round of games of the group stage.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I got it out. Like we said before, Man United has Young Boys, the Swiss champions. I think we're all in agreement that United will probably win that game handily.
Agreed.
Chelsea has Zenit from the Russian league.
And that should be...
Chelsea
they
at
always-
Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, they always play tough. I mean, it is at the Bridge, so they have that going for them.
I mean, Conte's well rested, so they definitely won't lose.
They will probably not get scored on by
lose the
Zenit.
game.
And then Wednesday is Liverpool and Milan,
Yeah.
which is
it's gonna
a
be-
spicy little meatball.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Milan, I think right now top of the table in Serie A, so they're showing up.
Yeah.
They're playing pretty well.
It's going to be an old rematch from Champions League final.
When was it? Forever ago
man,
now.
That was a
4?
long
Ooh.
time ago. When was
Yeah,
it?
I went
5?
look up that massive game. Still remember watching that. That
remember-
was something else.
We watched it with you.
I was probably there.
No,
Was
we were
Phil
at
there?
home because I remember I laid my. So funny. I was like, what? I was probably like 13 or something. Laid my Juve jersey on the
2000
ground in front of the TV, hoping. When?
2005.
2005.
Mm.
Wow, 16 years ago.
Oi.
So I was. Yeah, I was 14.
You're 14 or Joe was 14?
I was 14.
I remember chirping Phil after that game.
I was gonna say maybe for
Yeah.
that, maybe next week we'll bring a special guest and we'll have him.
Yeah, we'll have an episode just on Liverpool Milan Champions League
Have
final.
him break that down. What's going on across the pond in Italy?
We will play "You'll Never Walk Alone" at halftime live from that game.
Oh, he's just gonna walk away then. He's
Yeah.
gonna walk away from the podcast. He's not even gonna want to be here for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
remember lying my Juve jersey in front of the TV because I think it was the first Champions League game or the first Champions League final where I was like really into it. Where I was like, oh, this is like Champions League and an Italian team is in like the Champions League final. And I was just like hoping Milan would win. And I still remember to this day the commentator saying how it's men against boys when Milan was up 3-0.
Yeah,
And
how quickly that
And then
turned.
they
yeah,
lose.
that just turned around real quick.
How the tables can turn.
Yeah. Yeah, that was That was exciting. It's cool to be a part of that.
Yeah. And then the final English contingent for this week of Champions League is City versus Leipzig. Again, I think that's going to be at least 3 victories for the English sides. Liverpool, Milan might end in a draw. I could see that one easily going to a draw.
Yeah. Especially first game.
At Anfield.
It's at Anfield, yeah, but
We'll
Milan
see.
play a tight game. I mean, this isn't like
We'll see.
Milan 15 years ago were really, really good. Clearly.
Yes.
They were world class.
Yep.
Milan the last, decade maybe have really kind of fallen off the table a little bit, but they've made a resurgence the last season or two. They brought in some good players. They brought in, Ibrahimovic is kind of taking control there, even though he's not starting every match. He still can perform and contribute. And Olivier Giroud also signed last transfer season, so he's made a pretty good impact in his time there. And they're doing the right thing. They're bringing in youth. They're bringing in some quality players. They're bringing in quality management. The different coaching staff have made the jump over there in the last couple of seasons, and they've kind of changed that they play. So
Yeah.
it's a big game to watch too.
Going off the tangent, I'm not just looking at the Italian table because we don't do that often. Juve is having a rough.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Wow. Rough go.
Yeah, they're not doing so hot. Not a good start for the
really rough start to the season
Bianconeri.
for Juve.
We'll see. Good luck.
Yeah, especially with Ronaldo.
Yeah, really. Looking past the Champions League into next week's Premier League week, the big matchup there, Tottenham-Chelsea,
Yeah.
Sunday, 11:30.
Chelsea's going to win this game.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Even though it's at White Hart Lane. I think
the new White Hart Lane.
Oh, the new one. I'm assuming Son's not going to be fit.
Yeah, I think they might have said at least 10 days to 2 weeks.
I really don't see that going well. Like you said, they can't find a good link up between Kane and the rest of the team without Son. I don't think.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
And like we said, it's you're only, as a striker in that position, you're only as good as what your distribution is.
Yeah. It's going to be tough for them.
And Son's obviously a world-class player, and they really miss him when he's not there.
Yeah. There's a lot of rivalry in that one though, so
Yeah, anything can happen, really.
Come up, yeah.
Anything can happen in the London Derby.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good match, I think.
Do you guys know how many London teams there are?
A lot, probably. I don't know.
I don't know the number.
Speaking of London, is West Ham a London team?
Yep.
I don't know. Speaking of London teams, I think if Man U loses this game to West Ham, I think that's going to dictate as to whether they're good enough to win the title this year.
United, you're saying?
Yeah, United against West Ham. Like, I know West Ham are doing really well this year, but that's the game. If you're competing for the title, that's the game early on in the season that you have to win. If you're like, no, we're competing for the title, we're gonna go to the 7th place team that's coming up and doing well this season. We're gonna win.
Yeah.
That's gonna dictate what kind of team you are, I think.
And like the golden rule that we used to always say was like you win the games you're supposed to win, and then you can maybe drop a couple points like against a top 2 or top 3 side. But in England the last couple of seasons, there's not just a top 2 or top 3 side. It's like you have to win almost every game that you play.
You have to win West Ham because you still have to play Chelsea, Liverpool, and City.
Right.
You have to.
So I mean that's why I love the EPL. That's why I think it's one of the best leagues, or is the best league in the world.
Yep.
Just because the storylines that come out of every single week, the teams that make jumps every single year that we see, the competitiveness, just the grittiness, the world class players that are in the league that we get to watch week in, week out. There's no other league like it.
Yeah.
And obviously we get the biggest broadcast from the league, obviously, like with where we live, North America. So kudos to, again, I think we do this every single pod. Kudos to DAZN
to
Daz and DAZN for giving us the rights to, watch the English game, and yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah. I was just looking it up here. There are 6 EPL teams in London. So
Currently, yeah.
in London: Arsenal, Brentford, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, and West Ham.
Fulham,
3 in the EFL Championship: Fulham,
QPR,
and Millwall.
yeah.
Yeah, and then there are in League One we got AFC Wimbledon and Charlton Athletic.
crazy, man.
League 2, you got Leyton Orient and Sutton United. And then you have 5 in the National League, 6 in National League South, and 7 in the Isthmian League Premier Division.
And what's wild is like these aren't little parks
No.
that they play at. Like these are stadiums.
I know.
Yeah.
How many stadiums?
So it's like that's what blows my mind is like London's obviously massive. Like biggest, I think it's biggest city in the world.
I don't know.
I don't know by population, but I think just by square like territory, like square
Yeah.
kilometer.
Biggest city in the world by landmass.
Yeah.
Land.
It's huge.
Square footage.
So no, you got like all these, like it really drops off really in the National League and EFL League 2, where, Leyton Orient has a capacity of 9,000. Then you got Sutton that has a capacity of 5,000.
Yeah, obviously you do have like your low tiers, but
Yeah, but
I
still,
mean,
you
look
got
at the top 2, top 3 leagues.
Yeah.
Like you're packing 20,000. Maybe not every single match, but you have a stadium that can hold at least 20,000
Yeah.
for one city.
London is the 37th by land area in square kilometers.
Really? I thought it was much bigger than that.
New York's the biggest. Tokyo,
yeah.
Chicago, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Boston, LA,
Wow.
Dallas,
all, like,
Houston, and
American.
Detroit's number 10, right across the pond.
Shout out Detroit.
Where's Windsor?
Oh god.
Not on the list.
But no,
The
yeah,
list
you
is
got
not big enough.
NA.
You have must be exciting, honestly, having all these
So cool.
massive teams in massive stadiums all in one city. Just the competitiveness of it all. So yeah, Tottenham, Chelsea, big London derby. We'll see what happens.
All right. If you boys are good.
Yeah, we're good.
Anything
All
else?
good.
All right. I want to thank you guys again for joining us on episode 5 of the Footy Fans Podcast. Please like and subscribe this video. You can find it anywhere you find your podcast. You can follow us on Twitter @_footy. I screwed it every single time. I was doing a really good job that time. I screwed it up. You can find us @footy_fans
Here we go.
on Twitter.
Here we go.
That's footy_PHANS. You can also find our videos and our podcast on YouTube. Type in Footy Fans there. And boys, I think that's everything we can talk about for this week.
Yeah.
Ciao, everyone. Take care, everybody.
All right. Thanks for listening. Ciao.